and he is gonna, his speech is called Crossing the River. Vet du?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Good evening again. When I first joined Toastmasters, I met another Toastmaster who was older and wiser than me, and his name was Mike Landrum. Mike, besides being a Toastmaster, he was also a professional actor and a public speaking coach. And a lot of his clients were these CEOs of big companies that would have to give big speeches in front of reporters and shareholders, and they would be nervous. So they would hire Mike to coach them before these big events. And Mike told me about one such client, a CEO of a multinational corporation, who hired Mike for a big speech at a big event. And Mike went into his corner office, and then the CEO started going off, "Oh, I'm so nervous, and I always get the jitters in front of reporters, and these questions, and oh." After going on for about 20 minutes, Mike stopped him and said, "Okay, tell me, what kind of a speaker do you want to be?" And he said, "Well, I've always admired the kind of speaker that could walk out from behind the podium and talk to the audience without using any notes." And Mike said, "Well, you've been talking to me for the last 20 minutes and you didn't use any notes." And the CEO laughed. And he said, "What I meant is I wish I could speak to an audience as easily as I can speak to another person, one-on-one." And Mike said, "Ah, now that's a good goal, and I think that's a goal that we can reach." So what was the advice that Mike gave the CEO? It was the same advice he gave me. Mike told me that in public speaking, there's a gap between the speaker and his or her audience. And he said everything depended on how the speaker saw the gap. Some speakers see the gap as something minor, like a small stream that they could just step over. Those are the naturally good speakers. They don't need a podium, they don't need notes. They can give a speech as if they were having a conversation with the audience. Most other speakers, probably like us, we see the gap as very big, very wide. Not a stream, but a river. And the bigger the audience that we have to give a speech to, the wider the river seems to get. And when we look at the audience across the river on the other side, all those eyes looking at us, judging us, we start to feel nervous and uncomfortable. And we start getting afraid of messing up, right? Don't we? So what do? We write out the whole thing beforehand. We practice it 10 million times. We even memorize pages and pages and pages of text, all because we're afraid of messing up. How many of you do that? Come on. And the rest of you are lying, right? But the thing is, we're not used to, when we talk, we're not used to reading off of cards or having to memorize each sentence we're saying to the audience. So all of a sudden, the simple act of speaking becomes strange and awkward and uncomfortable. Speaking really is a simple process. I have an idea or a thought in my head, and I want to get this thought inside of your head, in your head, in your head. And how do I do that? With my words. I speak. I talk. That's how the thought travels. Now, let's say I'm having a conversation with you. I have to look at you, right? If I'm having a conversation with you, did I have to write out this whole conversation last night, practice it 10 times, and then come here to have a conversation with you? No. When you're having a conversation, it's like you're stepping across a stream to be on the other side with who you're talking to, so you can have a connection. And when you're having a conversation, you don't have to think about the words that much. The words just appear. The words just happen. And you trust that the words come. You're more focused on who you're talking to. That's during a conversation. Now, when it comes to speaking in front of an audience, giving a speech, Guess what? It really is the same thing. You have to focus on who you're talking to. Now, a lot of us are conditioned to think that, oh, it's a speech. I better, prepare all my pages and pages and pages of text and then memorize it. And we're so focused on the material that we can't focus on who we're talking to. And the more we focus on the notes, the bigger that gap gets between the audience and us. Until it's so wide that the audience is so far away that you've lost any sense of connection. And the audience doesn't feel like you're talking to them anymore. Now, it is true that when you give a speech, you have a lot to say, so it helps to prepare and get organized. It's useful to use notes sometimes. It's useful to rehearse it, to practice it. It's useful to even memorize parts of it if you're using a lot of quotes or facts and figures to support your speech, your message. But the focus always, just like in a conversation, the focus always is who you're talking to. You have to focus on, you have to look at who you're talking to, you have to focus on, they are the focus. You've prepared your stuff beforehand, but they are, when you're speaking in that moment, they are who you have to pay attention to. Close the gap between you and your audience. Turn that river into a stream so you can step over it and have an easy conversation with your audience. It's more fun that way. Your audience will have more fun. They'll feel involved that you're talking to them. So that's the advice that Mike, the wise Toastmaster, gave the CEO, and he gave a great, fabulous speech. So if it works for a CEO, I'm pretty sure it's going to work for you guys. It's going to work for me. Close the gap. Madam Toastmaster.